Now you wait 1 hot minute. Red Hot Chili Peppers, 1 hot minute. I've got the 2012 Warner Brothers remaster for the US. Overall, pretty good pressing. If you look at the Discogs comments, my comments are pretty in alignment with theirs. I think this pressing is very clean. Other than my copy does have a bit of a gouge in it on side A. It's pretty rough. I don't know if that's something that's happened between moving or if that's how it was when I bought it. I honestly cannot remember exactly where that came from. A little unfortunate. It kind of, really doesn't affect playback too much outside of the end of aeroplane going into the third track. So overall, that's kind of the only real complaint with the pressing. The pressing overall is very quiet, surprisingly quiet. For me, side A is quieter than side B, but both sides are pretty good. It's actually kind of surprising for a really run-of-the-mill remaster. The downfalls with this album really come with the packaging, very, very bland. It's just single sleeve, single album, nothing special to write home about at all anywhere. The actual vinyl is very flat. Again, plays well. Mastering, also a little disappointing. I do think the digital master is maybe not necessarily better. None of the Red Hot Chili Peppers mastering is really, really great, but it is what it is. It's what you're going to get with most of Red Hot Chili Peppers albums. They are not known for their mastering, and this is no exception. Having said that, the digital masters, I think, are a little more punchy than what comes across on this specific pressing. On one end, it's a little less fatiguing, but it's also a little less high energy. And I think with this album, that's kind of what you're going for. That is what the sound is. That is the tone they set. So it's just got a little more, a little less oomph, a little less rock and roll. But overall, pressing physically is very good. Mastering, it's good enough that you own it if you want it, own it if you love it, own it to support the band. It's fun to have on vinyl. I do like spinning it. There is always something very involving with spinning a record versus streaming or pulling out a CD. Another thing that I like about having this on vinyl is this specific album is one that I feel like side A is just stronger than side B for me. I'm sure that's going to upset people. I'm sure that a lot of people feel differently. But for me, side A of this album is so much stronger than the B side. So that is one thing that I kind of like about the vinyl is side A for me is a little cleaner, a little quieter. Not that either side's bad again, but side A is a little smoother. And if I just want to listen to that side, it makes it very, very easy to spin it, listen to it, not think about it, and then move on to the next thing. So overall, great album. I do think it's underrated, from a band that obviously has polarizing opinions, but one of my favorites. I mean, Red Hot Chili Peppers has always been one of my favorites. Been able to see them in concert a couple times. Really, really great. And I do think this album brings a lot of that excitement and those memories home for me. So I really, really love this album. I'm really glad to own it. But, this is one where if they did a fresh remaster and really kind of put some work behind it, got somebody good behind the wheel on the remaster, and got it to be a little more consistent, a little smoother, and above all, just more dynamic, more equally dynamic across the range. I think some songs on this one fall flatter than compared to the digital. Some of these do pop really nicely, and some of them just don't. So I think if they, got the whole album remastered really well and pressed it on equal quality or even higher quality vinyl for a second round, especially if I can do it without a gouge, I would probably buy it again. I don't know that I'd necessarily spend 50 plus on a super audiophile pressing, but I might, depending on who put it out and when it came out and just how I was feeling at the time. But yeah, overall, good if you're a fan, good, worth owning. Certainly better than a lot of things that come out as far as 90s reissues and as far as a lot of the pop modern pressings when they're just jamming out 50, 60, 100,000 copies for a release date that end up being pretty shoddy. So I think overall they did pretty good with this one. And another big bonus is, it's not that expensive. It's pretty cheap record comparatively. especially if you're buying new. So if you see it, if you like it, feel free to pick it up. I don't think it's a bad pickup. I think CD is probably going to give you a little more bite, a little more action on the mastering, but this one's certainly not bad to own.